Welcome. You have clicked on Sermon Rewind, a short 5-minute message to get you through the day, presented by Pastor Joel Moyer from one of his latest Sunday sermons at the Grove 3CU Church, where our doors are always open. Now, without further ado, here's this week's Sermon Rewind.
It was a week ago today that what's called a landmark decision was made somewhere in Washington, D.C. in a very prestigious building. And from that day, everyone's been asking the question, at least in the Christian community, what should the church do now? I figured perhaps it might be appropriate if we chimed in on that. What should the church do now? What should our response be? I imagine there are a few responses the Christian could take. One could be we could just simply put our heads in the sand and pretend like nothing happened after all. Go back to work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and as you've pretty well seen, outside of a few news sources, not much has really changed, has it? And we pretty well know that nothing will really change, not immediately at least, and we'll be weaned into it, and so we barely will notice the change anyways. And so let's just stick our head in the sand and pretend like nothing happened. That could be a response. You could take that one. Perhaps a secondary response could be you could be very angry. And you could be enraged even, and go and call your senator and your congressman and fight, and blame everything on those liberals and Democrats and what have you, because boy oh boy they should know better, and that could be a response. Anger could be your response, and if that's the route you take, then so be it. Another response could be you could just find something else to divert your attention. Watch another episode of SportsCenter, or watch a sports program. Get on ESPN.com and see what your favorite college football team is doing, and just fill your life with a bunch of stuff that really doesn't matter, but at least it doesn't take you to the things you'd rather not think about. That could be a response. But there's a final response. Now that response would be what I believe might be the best one, and that is to embrace this moment. Yeah, to embrace this moment. This moment that the church has been given, to embrace it. Why would I say it? Embrace what? Not embrace the decision, not embrace what has happened, but embrace the moment, because the church has been given a great moment to embrace. If you consider this thought, the final delusion has been pulled away. What happens when you reach the precipice of your mountain and you've reached the goal that you ever longed for, but that goal doesn't include Jesus Christ nor his will? What then do? You find it wasn't enough. You find you have no peace, you have no joy. This is the church's moment. The moment in which the people of God can finally offer the truth to ears that may be willing to listen. After all, sin has never been logical, so arguing from a logical standpoint may not work, but arguing from an experiential standpoint just may. What if the world could be convinced that it isn't enough? That having our way isn't enough. Social acceptance isn't enough. Being popular isn't enough. Being legal isn't enough. Where do you turn then, when all of those wonderful structures have faltered? This is the church's moment. Not an angry church, not a frustrated church, not a see I told you so church, but a church that offers love, grace, patience, kindness, a warm embrace, in that wonderful word, inclusion. Well, sure, we include anybody who wants to be part of what Christ wants to do in their life. So if that's what we mean by inclusion, I'm all for it. But why wouldn't the church do that? Why wouldn't we embrace our moment? Why would we rather stick our head in the sand, or watch a good episode of ESPN, or frankly just divert ourselves altogether, or just get angry and blame everybody else? Why would we do it? I assume maybe it's this last point. Is it possible that the reason sometimes we allow these things, these responses, to be the ones that control what we do next? Is it possible that happens because we have all of a sudden found that 9 justices in Washington, D.C. has made it entirely more difficult to be a Christian today than it was yesterday? Up until this point, a person could pretty well be a pretentious Christian, could claim the name of Jesus or claim the Christian allegiance, and frankly, nothing really bad would happen to him. You're pretty well socially acceptable, but all of a sudden, it's increasingly becoming difficult to be a Christian in this Western society. Maybe we're angry because it's not easy to be a Christian anymore. They've taken it from us. Now we have to either put up or shut up. Maybe we don't like the idea that it's not easy to be Christian in society. We liked our comfortable pews or chairs. We liked our pop Christian culture. We liked our rock bands and beautiful music. We liked our multi-purpose facilities and all the money and wealth and things that came in to provide for that. And now those sources are starting to be cut off. It's getting more difficult to be a Christian. Maybe we're upset because the free ride is quickly ending. Maybe we're upset because pretentious Christianity is quickly becoming a thing of the past. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's time that pretentious Christianity be a thing of the past. This is our moment. And it's a good moment. It's a moment in which we can embrace what Christ wants to do. Good moment. It was Frodo in The Lord of the Rings who said, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had ever happened." And Gandalf, in his great wisdom, suggested, "So do all who live to see such times." But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. This is our time. This is what's been given to us. Now, what we do with it, that's our choice. We can embrace this moment and offer the gospel of Jesus Christ to a world that desperately needs to hear it. And I would suggest in years to come will want to hear it, because they will have found that all of their structures to provide for their own needs, they have failed. And they weren't all they were cracked up to be. And the promises they'll find were lies. The joy that they were offered, they'll find didn't provide it. And now is our time, because we are the holders of true peace, real joy, eternal happiness. This is our time. Now, how would you respond? Stick your head in the sand if you'd like. Watch another sports episode, follow your team all the harder, or just be angry at all those liberals. Go ahead, hold a picket if you'd like. Or you could offer the gospel of Jesus Christ. Don't bend. Don't shirk back. Don't pull back from your firm stance in the gospel. But with love and grace and joy, find this to be a moment where the world might just listen to what Jesus has to offer. This is our moment. What would you do with it?